1969, the ARCA stars prepare to assault the unpredictable high banks of Talladega Superspeedway. Today, last year's leading rookie and this year's leading winner, Bill Baird, will realize a dream as he officially becomes the 1999 ARCA Series National Champion. Perhaps no one understands Baird's emotions better than this three-time titleist, Tim Steele, whose series record 20 Superspeedway wins include 4 here at Talladega. It's an ARCA battle on the high banks next. Our Speed Road coverage comes to you today from the world's fastest stock car facility, Talladega Superspeedway. It's the 17th running of the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Winn-Dixie 300. And the very first order of business will be to crown a champion. How about 50-year-old Sturgis, Kentucky driver Bill Baird? He becomes the 1999 ARCA champion in only his second season by rolling off today. How about a sophomore season driver becoming a champion? Other ARCA surprises in 1999? Well, there are plenty. With more on that, here's Ray Dunlap.
Well, Doc, in 1999, there have been 19 different races in the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series and 11 different winners. But the amazing stat is that 7 of those winners got their first career victory ever. One of those was Bobby Gerhart back in Daytona. The other, Bill Baird, who won for the first time at Atlanta Motor Speedway. This 50-year-old father of 2 has posted 5 wins this season, along the way with 14 top 5 finishes. And today his efforts are rewarded with the championship. Now, this may be the best field of cars we've ever seen at Talladega for this division, and the front row represents a lot of great drivers. Bob Strait and Tim Steele have 48 career wins. Steele has won the last 3 races here at Talladega, all of those coming from the pole position. But on Thursday afternoon, Bob Strait won the pole and put Steele on the outside. Strait is a 14-time winner in this series, but he's never won on a track bigger than 1 mile. Today, we will shine the spotlight on the number 66 team, and Bob Strait hopes that sunshine points his way to victory lane. For more, let's go to Bill Weber.
Well, this is ARCA's biggest track, and I would say this is their biggest race. It's certainly their longest race of the 1999 season. But with the TV cameras on in the Winston Cup garage watching, everyone is feeling the pressure to perform. It's more than just win. You want to show off here today. Now, there are 38 drivers in this field that have a chance to be 2 champions. Bill Baird clinches the 99 title when he rolls off. Frank Kimmel is the current champ. He's 2nd in points and 7th on the grid. He has Hendrick horsepower under the hood and high hopes for a high finish in this race. Kevin Harvick ran the Craftsman truck race Friday night, but flew here Friday morning to practice his car. This is a Richard Childress Winston Cup car that Mike Skinner drove to a pair of poles at Daytona in 1997. Harvick also has Childress power. He has to start at the back of the pack because Mike Dillon qualified the car. He should be able to get to the front. We'll see if he can. And starting 8th, the one person in this field who is certainly no gentleman. 34-year-old Shauna Robinson finished 2nd at Daytona in February. If she wins today, Shauna gets the glory. But 57-year-old retired police officer Bill Shipley wins a $100,000 bonus.
And with just 2 events remaining, take a look at the point standings. No doubt who's going to become the champion, but other spots within that top 10 could shuffle in these final 2 events. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, along with Benny Parsons and Kyle Petty. Glad to have you with us. And, guys, I'm told that when a crew chief talks to a driver about racing Talladega, it's like he's training a dog. He uses the word stay a lot. Stay in line, stay out of trouble, and stay there until it's over.
That's definitely so. You know, I've run here 9 million times, it seems like, and there's been races where I just go high and I stay high, or I go low and I stay low. I definitely listen to what the spotter says. Sometimes your line goes to the back, sometimes your line shuffles you to the front, but if you're patient, you can come out of here with something.
And that's something some young drivers have to learn today, is patience, and that's exactly why they're here at Talladega, getting ready for the year 2000 in the NASCAR Busch Series. As we see the starting lineup, we go back to the 14th spot. We saw Kevin Harvick just a moment ago. He will drive for Richard Childress on the NASCAR Busch Series in the year 2000, but he's got to get some experience at Daytona, Talladega. As we look at 16 through 30, back in the 19th spot, Anthony Lazzaro. He will be driving the McDonald's Busch car in the year 2000, but he has to get some experience on a big track. Otherwise, NASCAR will not allow him to run in Daytona in February. Also, Dave Steele back in 22nd spot. He will be driving the NASCAR Busch Series car for the Felix Sabata's team next year. He also has to give him some experience on these racetracks if he expects to compete in 2000.
And there's a look at the 40 starters today. 52 cars came here to attempt to qualify. Only 40 will start for 300 miles at Talladega. When we come back, we'll wave the green flag at the world's fastest stock car facility. Our Speed World coverage of ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde competition from Talladega is being brought to you by EA Sports and NASCAR 2000. If it's in the game, it's in the game. What a day for racing here in Talladega, Alabama. This racetrack almost doesn't need describing. It's a four-syllable word that means speed. You simply say Talladega.
But we'll try. It's 2.66 miles in length. It's a tri-oval. The front stretch, 4,300 feet. Back stretch is 4,000 feet. In the corners, banking of 33 degrees. In the tri-oval, 18 degrees. The straightaways are banked 2 degrees, just enough for water to roll off. And Kyle, going into these 33-degree banks at speed 190 miles per hour, it really doesn't appear as they have any banking at all.
No, once you get in the corner at the speed that these guys are running, it feels like you're on a flat racetrack. The only difference you feel is your head wants to sling to the other side of the car in a 33-degree bank at 180 or 90 miles an hour, but it really feels pretty flat.
We'll have 5 in-car cameras today. We'll ride along initially. We'll go to the car number 46, last year's champion, Frank Kimmel, the Advanced Auto Parts Chevrolet, which will start back in 7th spot. Benny?
Starting in 6th is C.W. Smith. Skip Smith, he starts 6th and he's shot back onboard camera. Bobby Gearhart to keep waiting on Casino's camera will be starting in the 5th spot. And on the pole, the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde camera along with Bob Strait.
We get set for the green flag. Hank Wetzel will wave the green flag here. It's the 17th time the ARCA cars have run in the Winn-Dixie 300 here in the fall. It is their next to last event. Their last race will be coming up in Atlanta, Georgia, the Georgia Boot 400 on November 20th. And we'll be there to cover the action. You just joined us, a champion crowd today. 50-year-old Bill Baird, by rolling off at the start, becomes the 1999 ARCA Series champion.
Away from the field. They will slowly come down to the start-finish line where Wetzel will throw the green flag. And we'll see these cars up speeds up to 195 miles per hour. And folks, you're not going to believe how close they run together at that speed. Smoke out of the back of Tim Steele's number 16 car.
3 and 4 wide down the back straightaway, and Giucchetti wasting no time to take his car toward the front. The challenge now for second spot. They are side by side here.
Frank Kimmel, the Advanced Auto Parts onboard camera, right in the middle of this. Never see him back in about 8th or 9th spot. Will lead that lap, and we'll see Tim Steele now take over 2nd spot, and Matt Hunter, the dual loop car on the outside, trying to follow Tim Steele by our pole sitter, Bob Strait.
Mike Giucchetti, the 66 car eased up to try to keep them side by side to block the wind, and Giucchetti just got a great run and took the lead right going into the first corner.
There we see the 28 car. The white car on the outside is C.W. Skip Smith. We're right along with Bob Strait, our pole sitter. That's now a battle for the 3rd spot. And red and white car number 1 is Shauna Robinson, the Bob Evans Restaurants. The young lady finished 2nd in Daytona, and if she wins today, as Bill Weber told you, fans can walk off with $100,000.
These two guys are running side by side here, and Giucchetti and Steele has kind of checked out about 10 or 12 car lengths. The deal is, once the cars get side by side here, unless they line up, it's tough to run down the front pack. These guys will get out a little bit, and eventually they'll run them back down because these crowds will get them. But But in the initial stages, nobody wants to give an inch. Nobody wants to get in line and race. They all want to lead this thing and go to the front.
Here's Skip Smith and our champion, Bill Baird. Running in 7th position. This is the Saturn Machine Speedy Pop onboard camera. Right now, he's battling for about the 5th spot. He is in the 5th spot.
Side by side for 3rd position. If you take a look and ride along with Bill Baird, watching the battle in front of him. That is the pole sitter, Bob Strait, the 66 car. And alongside him is Matt Hutter. Hutter, who finished 2nd in this race a year ago.
And Kyle, I'm really shocked these guys are able to keep up as well as they have, running side by side.
If you notice when they get to the corner, the inside line right here goes ahead about a car length. He's got a little help this time because the car pulled down behind him. But he goes ahead a little bit ahead, and then the outside line catches back up. You see the 66 has jumped back up in the line now, and he's left 2 more guys to run side by side. And you'll notice that as the 66, he'll run down the first pack and catch up with him real quick. It is amazing that they haven't checked out any further than they've checked out with this pack running the way they're running 2 by 2. It's a pretty strong field this year. A lot of times you come down here and you get 5 or 6 cars, 8 or 10 cars that can check out and just leave everybody. This time these guys aren't checking out on each other. They're running pretty good, pretty clean, and they're not getting away.
Now we see Tim Steele trying to go for the lead. Didn't quite make it.
3 cars single filed, and we have officially begun the Winn-Dixie 300, and this man is officially the 1999 ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series champion, 50-year-old Sturgis, Kentucky driver Bill Baird, currently being shown in 4th spot. We'll be right back. Back at Talladega Superspeedway, I'm Jerry Punch along with Kyle Petty, Vinnie Parsons, Ray Dunlap, and Bill Weber, as 4 cars are breaking away, and Tim still looking a little bit racy, but now, Benny, they're going to go 2 by 2, it looks like.
And that will certainly hurt their chances of trying to pass the leader, Mike Giacchetti, in the teal-colored 17. And Matt Hutter still on that outside line, follows whoever moves up on the outside. Right now it's the red 16 of Tim Steele.
The big challenge for Bob Strait today is to run with the lead pack here in a restrictor plate race. In the past, the equipment he's had at these restrictor plate races has not really allowed.
Okay, Bobby, I know you're running pretty good right now, but if we go jockeying around, the whole pack's going to catch us. Let's just ride there for a little while, okay?
Obviously, they're working with him. They want him to get in line so they can break away from the rest of the field. But the point is that Strait has not had a lot of time drafting with very fast and more talented drivers. That's something they worked on in happy hour here, something they've worked on throughout the week, and something they were concerned about here in the early stages of the race. So far for Bob, it's worked out fairly well. Now he's got to see if he can rope in those front 3 cars.
Take a look at the Midway Island Ford of Bob Strait. That is the Mark Thompson machine crash. The car number 19, that's Kevin Counselor. They're spinning around. Thus far, no one else has contacted him.
Also, the 33 car, Joe Knott, is involved. There we see Joe Knott, the red-white car, driving away from Lima, Ohio. And there we see Kevin Counselor's 19 car sitting there. He fires it back up and seems to be driving away. Wow, how can all these cars spin around and not have any more damage than that? There we see Randall Ritter in the yellow number 31. Let's back and see if we can see what might have caused this. Oh, they're on the bottom of the racetrack, right on the apron. Kirk Shumerdine in the 3 car gets in the left rear quarter of the 19 of Kevin Counselor, and there the 31 car of Randall Ritter gets into the 33 of Joe Knott. And those cars spin down through there, and Kyle, I'm amazed no more damage than that.
No, yeah, if you watch this, the 3, like you said, got into it. But look how wide the racetrack is. You know, the guys at Talladega came in here and put all this pavement out through here. And look, these cars begin to slow down. But these guys were able to drive around the accident, even though they're 60, 70 feet from the racetrack. But they're able to drive through the accident because the cars spin out of the way. They all keep going in the same direction. They all stay on all 4 tires. And you're able to avoid a little bit more. It could have been terrible.
And look at all this smoke, and all these cars go sliding. Now, if you're coming down through here, where do you choose where to go? Because there's nothing but smoke there. And everyone's trying to find some clean air they can drive. See how these guys are going all the way down to the left, trying to find to avoid because they can't see the cars and all the smoke.
All right, first caution flag today coming out on lap number 8. An incident up in the tri-oval. Kevin Counselor, Randall Ritter, and Joe Knott, the 3 cars involved. All 3 minimal damage. Back with green flag racing in just a moment. Back at Talladega Superspeedway, getting set for the restart after the first caution flag today, coming out on lap number 8, involving 3 cars. Kevin Counselor, Randall Ritter, and Joe Knott.
Green.
I mentioned Randall Ritter has taken his car number 31 behind the wall. The other 2 drivers have continued. We start here on lap number 13.
See Frank Kimmel down on the inside. And there's John Robinson as she goes by Bill Baird. Followed closely by Dan Pardis, I think, in the 42 car.
Danny Pardis has really made a charge toward the front. He started back in 16th spot. He'd come all the way to 5th position for about a lap and then got shuffled back in the draft. But this young man, I talked to him yesterday, they were disappointed in their qualifying position. Felt they would race much better, and obviously Jim Gardner's car, Vinny, is running off the well here in the early laps.
It is, but now he's hung on the outside as we see Frank Kimmel and Brian Ross. That's Ross in the gold and white number 67. And Mike Swain Jr. behind the 2 cars, the Carly Ward Burton look-alike. It looks like Mike Swain Jr. goes down the inside. Looks like he's off the pace. Yes, he is.
Yeah, he just pulled over all of a sudden. He seemed to be drawing back on him a little bit, and then all of a sudden about to start finishing, he dove to the inside and got out of the way.
And there we see the 22 car of Mike Swain Jr. as he coasts down the backstretch.
That is the car they bought for Bill Davis about a week and a half ago. They have a Bill Davis Terry LH engine on board, and of course the young man hoping to run the full season possibly next year in ARCA. Won the ARCA race last November.
Now, Ducati moves over, tries to block Tim Steele, Bob Strait, and Matt Hutter. Right now, these 4 cars that you can see have broken away a little bit from the 5th place car. Well, not much. 50. 10 cars maybe. 17 car Mike Ducati, folks, if you don't realize, he will be competing for the bestest rookie of the year in the year 2000 on the NASCAR Wish Cup circuit. He'll be going up against Matt Kenseth and Dale Earnhardt Jr. driving his 2nd car for Cale Yarborough, teammate from Rick Manning.
Ducati will get a challenge.
High side, Mike, high, going high. Still there, still there. Still there. Still there, Mike, still there.
And Joe Knott.
Cautious out.
Joe Knott has crashed on the backstretch.
So the second caution flag today coming out on lap number 14. Joe Knott out of the ASA ranks, spins around and has contact with the wall. Here is the battle back to the stripe among the lead cars.
And I'm not sure exactly.
Race to the caution, Mike. But I was in front. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, what is their rule about racing back to the caution?
I don't think they race back to the line. I think that's what the spotter was telling Mike Ducati, that you don't race back to the line.
Yeah, that is the ARCA rule. Until the final 10 laps of the race, that's when you are allowed to protect your position. But besides that, they do not race back to the line. Here's the 33 car, Benny, just looping it around.
Yeah, and the left rear tire is flat. And I don't know that there's enough damage there to cause that tire to go flat. I would guess that's what caused the spin. That's something, he cut the tire down and it went flat as he came off the 2nd corner, and around he goes.
Yeah, if you go back to the accident that happened before this, that the 33 that Joe Knott was involved in, he got clipped in the left rear right here in the trial when spun down through the infield. It could have been just a little bit of tire rub, and it doesn't take but a little bit for a couple of laps to wear through the sidewall or to wear through the tread, and it'll turn around on you in a heartbeat, and that's what it looks like, that it just turned around on him.
Joe Knott, only his 2nd start in ARCA. He ran Charlotte a few weeks ago, finished 8th up there, driving for Eddie Sharp, who was formerly the crew chief when the year began, for Bill Baird, the ARCA champion. And here's the accident that Kyle's talking about at the very beginning of the race down on lap number 8.
You see these guys get together, the three gets into this car, but here's Joe Knott that gets hit in the left rear right here and spun back across. He got hit right behind the left rear tire. And then these guys come back across, and it doesn't really look like they get together too hard right there, but they end up going on down the highway and changing tires and coming back out a little later. Then 3 laps later, after the restart, when we go back and you have the restart, and here's Joe Knott spinning down the backstretch with a flat left rear, and it's like the left rear went flat, spun it around, backed it in the wall, and it's like Benny says, it doesn't really appear that there's enough damage there to have made the left rear go flat. It's obvious pretty much that it was flat whenever he spun.
All right, Randall Ritter is behind the wall, involved in that first incident, and Bill Weber is with him.
And Randall Ritter is finished for this day. An interesting story to tell, though. What happened out there?
Well, Bill, it's just racing. You know, it appeared to me that the car in front of me turned the other car there about the tri-oval. Wasn't much I could do. I made a pretty violent, evasive maneuver, and I cleared him. But I couldn't get my car back straightened out. Round it came, and then I got drilled in the right rear from behind. It's one of those things. It's a hard business for hard people.
It's a tough race, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I love it. You know, we wouldn't be here, any of us, if we didn't recognize the risk and take them with joy. And it's hard to go home like this, but we're here for the race, and we just didn't get very far today.
Okay, then we'll see you at Daytona.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, Randall Ritter had a violent crash here 2 years ago. Has come back to enjoy his ARCA competition. Working caution number 2 at Talladega Superspeedway. Back with more in a moment. Back at Talladega Superspeedway, working the second caution flag of the day. Let's check in the pits with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Doc, somewhat of a lucky break for Mike Swaim Jr. He is a lap down now on the racetrack, but he's got his car all in one piece, and this is the reason that he dropped off the pace a few laps ago. He had a hole in the right rear tire. Now, Mike came into the pits, they put right side tires on, and they were going to try to hurry back out onto the speedway to get back on the lead lap, but they weren't able to do that. So since then, they've come back in and put left side tires on, so he does have 4 fresh tires. Now, with enough laps of caution here in this race today, there are a couple of teams that are going to try to make this a 1 pit stop race. The 66 car told me before the race started they can go somewhere around 48 laps on fuel. That's incredible fuel mileage. A lot of cars out there can only get about 37 or 38 laps. A big difference. It may be a one-stop race. Here's Bill Weber.
Huge break for Shauna Robinson. Under green, before the caution came out, she ran over something on the front stretch. This is her right rear tire, and you can see how it is punctured right here. This happened under green. When the caution came out, it saved her. She came down pit road, got 4 fresh tires, and went back out. Starts at the back of the field, but a very lucky break for Shauna and this team.
And there's a look at the Bob Evans Chevrolet that she ran to in second place finish in Daytona. That car finished second here last year with Matt Hunter aboard. So 2 second place finishes in that same car owned by James Finch. Getting set for the restart here at Talladega.
All right, green flag waves as Tim Steele brings them down to the line. Mike Swaim Jr. on the inside, trying to get a lap back from the leaders. Does not look like that's going to work very well. Doug Reed down on the bottom of the racetrack just left pit road a moment ago. Didn't take Tim Steele long to get back in the swing of things, coming back to the ARCA division.
See how right now everybody's almost in a single file group. When they started the race in your 2x2, everybody stays bunched up a lot more. As you see, there's 3 guys here in the first corner here. But once you have the first caution and it becomes a single file restart, they get spread out a lot quicker on the racetrack.
So Kevin Harvick, looked to me like the 20 car, the Realtree Chevrolet down on the inside, passing some vehicles. Mike Dillon qualified the car, but Kevin Harvick decided to drive, so he had to start at the rear of the field, and has now worked his way up last time by to the 9th position. You'll never see Kevin Harvick. Right in front of the Advanced Auto Parts of Frank Kimmel off turn 4. Check and see what kind of miles per hour that Frank Kimmel will attain going down the front stretch. 195 miles per hour. Then he drops off down in the corner, and this is where the car starts slowing down. When it goes into that 33-degree banking, it starts slowing down to 189, and that's about as slow as it gets. And Bobby Gearhart, our Daytona winner, off the pace on the apron of the racetrack, down in 1 and 2, and we can see he's down to 110, 105, and it will only get slower because obviously has no power on this Kuwait Casino Chevrolet.
Back up front, 4 cars, single file. Tim Steele is the leader. Cicchetti in second spot, straight, and then Hutter. That's the 4. Let's check back in the pits with Ray.
Well, Jerry, Joe Knott just climbed out of his race car. Joe, it looked like after the first spin, everything was going to be okay, but after the second one, you're done. What all happened?
Yeah, unfortunately, this is the way I wanted to meet you here today. It's our first time to Talladega with Sharp Racing, and we got involved in that first accident. Guys got spinning in front of me, and I got hit from the rear and got spun. It looked like everything was okay, and then I started getting some smoke in the car after we pitted and put tires on. And unfortunately, coming off of turn 2, it was revving a little bit too much, and it cut down and got me up into the wall. Luckily, it wasn't bad. We're okay. Just disheartening day. We're getting this whole deal going. We started last week at Charlotte. We Sharp Racing had an 8th place qualifying, an 8th place finish. So we're off to a great start. Unfortunately, this is the way we want to finish here today, but we're looking for some sponsorship to help us out and get this thing going.
Okay, tough luck for Joe Knott. They have Diamond Ridge cars here that they bought from the Winston Cup team, and he will be in the race at Atlanta.
And I'll say one thing. We talked in the beginning of the show about guys trying to get experience at a place like this. Rookies who have never been here trying to get approved for NASCAR or trying to get approved for the Busch Series. Joe Knott's a good example of somebody who comes here for the first time and doesn't realize that if you smell smoke in the car, you got to head to pit road. It's not going to cure itself. It's not going to go away. It's not like it is at some other tracks where it's just because the tire pressure is down. If something's running here, you're running 190. And chances are you're going to end up just like he did in the wall. But he learned a valuable lesson today, and he'll be a better driver because of it.
Riding along with C.W. Smith, Skip Smith, and lead.
Oh, and you see Tim Steele hard in that outside retaining wall.
Heavy impact. Steele's car leading, goes backwards, up across the racetrack. Cars trying to avoid him. There's Mark Gibson is in the wall. As Steele could not keep his car from coming back down across the 33-degree banks. And here's Gibson coming down across the track, and they will miss him. And there is Matt Hutter in the Ed Rencione Duraloop Chevrolet. His car also collected. So 2 of the top 4 cars. There is the leader, Tim Steele, who was the leader.
And the right front damage you see there on Tim Steele's car was made by the 83 car of Matt Hutter's who went by. And there we see poor Mark Gibson came along just as Tim Steele's car came back across the racetrack. And when he tried to dodge it, he lost control. Let's see if we can see what happened on this. There we see right there. It looks like Cicchetti. Yes, he is. The Cicchetti just touches the back of the 16. Gets in the back of him, and up the hill he goes. And right there, those 2 cars meet head on.
And I think this is a left front tire off of the 16 car that's rolling down through the infield. But Tim Steele had a hard impact. He got spun around. One thing that could have cushioned him a little bit and maybe kept him off the wall just a touch was the 83 car. I think he was fortunate that the 83 car, and then you see Gibson come through, and Steele's coming back down the racetrack, got no brakes on the car because the tires ripped all the lines off more than likely, and he just gets into the fluid and gets into the outside wall. Nowhere that Mark Gibson could go either.
Let's check out Bob Straight's Bondo Mar-Hyde onboard camera. Oh man, he just got by.
See Matt Hunter's impact. Now, Mark Gibson, Kyle, as the car comes down across the racetrack, Mark Gibson comes in. If he stays straight, he ends up hitting Steele right in the door. So he has to try to avoid it, and he turns the car left and right, and here comes Gibson now. Right, just does get the car turned to miss Steele's car, but unfortunately it takes him into the wall.
Yeah, you know, Gibson had already committed to where he wanted to be, and Steele's got no control over his car, and as he comes back down the racetrack, Mark Gibson did an incredible job. It's either hit Tim Steele again or hit the wall, and you know, not that you choose to hit either one, but it was a good job by Mark Gibson.
See Matt Hunter standing outside of his car. There's Mark Gibson, the veteran. Mark has 190th or 82nd, I should say, career start. He leads all active ARCA drivers, and the 1986 Rookie of the Year. There is the crew now, safety crew over there with the Tim Steele machine. Remember, Tim Steele had that pretty horrific impact in testing in Atlanta a year ago. testing with Bud Moore's car during the offseason. So they are in there working with Tim Steele. We'll give you an update as soon as we can on the 3-time ARCA Series champion. We are under caution for the 3rd time today. Coming out on lap 25, 2 of the top 4 cars involved in an incident up in turns 3 and 4. We'll be back.
Under caution here at Talladega, our first full field round of pit stops. Mike Cicchetti, the race leader, on pit road. No changes to the car. 4 tires. The 66 also on pit road. The 52 of the new champion, Bill Baird, on pit road. They come around to the left side on Cicchetti's car. Directly behind him is last year's champion, Frank Kimmel. He's also getting 4 tires. These are Hoosier tires, having trouble on the left rear on the 17. The 3's racing down pit road. Shelburne will win the battle off pit road, followed by the 17 and the 67. The 20's away. Baird will edge him off of pit road. Now they have to push Kimmel to get him away. And a lot of congestion down here on pit road. Shawna Robinson also made her 2nd stop of the race. So a first full field pit stops here at Talladega. We're under caution. A crash involving Tim Steele. Back for an update on his condition and more when we continue in a moment.
Back at Talladega Superspeedway, working caution number 3 after a horrific impact up in turns 3 and 4 involving our leader, Tim Steele. Here's what happened.
You can see as they start down into the corner, Tim Steele's leading, but Cicchetti's got a pretty decent run on him. And right about here in the middle of the corner, the 16 car changes direction. You see there's right here, there's 2 separate angles on the car. 16 car is cutting to the left, the 17 car is still running straight. And as they go, 16 car gets out, the 17 car goes up and just barely gets into the back right rear corner of him, and around he goes. And whether he was going around on his own or whether the 17 gave him a little help, it looks like they got together a little bit. Then the 83 comes in and kind of gets Hutter, or gets into Tim Steele right there. But it's just a wicked hit with the right side or with the left side of the 16 car.
And we can see where he sheared to right front. It looked like off Matt Hutter's car when he made contact. And we see Cicchetti's car, they made a pit stop, and look at the nose of it. We see no damage at all. So if there was contact between he and Tim Steele in the 16 car, it was just doggone ever so slight.
Now, the good news is that Tim Steele, we did get out of the car. He was awake, talking to the safety crew there, so that is great news. They put him on the stretcher. We'll take him in to be examined. We'll try to give you an update. But that is great news considering that impact that Tim is awake and talking to the crew there. Let's check in the pits with Ray.
Well, Jerry, down here at the Infield Medical Center, Mark Gibson and Matt Hutter have both come out under their own power. That's real good news. Mark, when we see this kind of racing here at Talladega, it really is a game of inches. You almost made it through that.
Yeah, I was far enough back I should have missed it probably, and I thought Tim was going to stay against the wall. So I kind of got in the middle of the racetrack, those cars under me, and he came back down. It was either turn right and try to miss him or hit him in the door. Tim's went through enough in the last 2 years. So I just caught up. This restrictor plate racing,
Well, Tim has, and you have too. We saw you with an awfully hard wreck at Atlanta, now another one here. Are you okay?
Great. Yeah, I'm fine. This is 2 in a row hard wrecks here at Talladega for me. And I don't know. The car had a real bad push, and we had dropped back a little bit riding and just get caught up in something. When something happens, somebody's going to get caught up in it, and it just happened to be me. So hopefully Tim's okay. He was awake in the infield care center when I left, and he recognized me, so I guess that's good. I don't know.
Okay, so Mark Gibson's out also. Matt Hutter, real quick, 2 weeks in a row, tough hits for you. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. It's a shame. We had an excellent car today. Just a real good driving race car. Just biding our time trying to break away with a group of 4 cars there that we thought was a good breakaway deal, and somebody got impatient, I guess.
Okay, well, good news is both of these guys are out and okay.
That is great news, Ray. The 30 car being shown as our leader, was our leader. There's Mike Cicchetti in the car 17. Just blitzing by on the inside.
Up high. Still there.
He's breaking Brian Ross, the 67 car. Also, Kevin Harvick in the 20 car has moved into the 3rd position.
Well, they are 3 by 3 in turn 1. There's Frank Kimmel. Bill Baird, the 52 car, is down there.
Also our pole sitter, 66 car, Bob Strait. And here comes Kurt Shelmerdine, the most recent winner in the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series in Charlotte just a couple of weeks ago. I guess that was actually about 10 days ago. And this is the 1999 ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series champion, Bill Baird, we're right along with. He's right along in about the 4th, 5th position. The red-white number 1 car, that's Shauna Robinson, who finished 2nd in Daytona. She's going by the Dave Steele, the 01 car. Dave Steele made an unscheduled stop. He is 1 lap down.
Back up front, Mike Cicchetti being shown as the leader. Now the second place car, the 67 machine, having an awfully good run. That's Brian Ross out of Plymouth, Indiana, the Biomet Chevrolet. He's trying to hold off the challenge of the car number 20. That's Kevin Harvick. His first ever trip to Talladega. Yeah, he's out of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, former Winston West Series champion. Will be driving next year full-time in the Busch Series for Richard Childress.
You know, Cicchetti and those guys got a really good run because the 01 of Dave Steele and the car of Mike Swain Jr., they were both a lap down, but at the lead pack. So they kept the leaders just bound up just enough that in the last time they run them down and went around them. But when they went around them, they went around them strong, and they've kind of checked out on them about 10 or 15 car lengths.
I think that's a good point, Kyle. They had such a run when they went by these cars. They went by so fast, those other cars could not catch on. They were by them and gone before they even thought about pulling over to try to get in the draft.
Sometimes on restarts at places like this, especially at Talladega, being the lead car is not the place to be on the restart sometimes. It's those guys that lag back a little bit in 15th or 16th position, even though you can't pass until you get to the start-finish line to the left. These guys get such a good run on you that you're a set duck at the front of the field, especially when you're running side by side.
That's what I was saying in the Iditarod, unless you're the lead dog, the scenery never changes.
That's the way it is a lot of Talladega. The only advantage of Talladega is if you stay in one place long enough, eventually you get to be the lead dog. You may not be there on the right lap, but eventually you get to be right there.
The 39 car, Andy Hillenberg. Jim Dandy Dog Food car being overtaken and trying to be passed by the 46 of Frank Kimmel.
You see that outside line. Kimmel was right up on him going into turn 3, but he got just enough of a run coming off to be able to pull back behind him. There's Shauna right behind Frank Kimmel. These two, if they get hooked up, she could push Kimmel by him and maybe hook up with the pack in front.
This is a battle for the 9th, 10th, and 11th. Actually, I guess it's 8th, 9th, and 10th.
You watch Shauna in the 1 car. This is the same type of race she ran at Daytona. She was lagged behind there about 6th or 7th, 8th, right along in there. But when it comes crunch time and it comes money time, she's headed to the front. And then she's running the same type of race today that she ran there.
Very smart race by Shauna Robinson. She's in the Bob Evans Chevrolet. That's the car number 1, red, white. Numeral the Chevrolet James Finch owned car. Mike Swain, the 22, car number 22. There's Shelmerdine, the 3 car.
And the white and green car is Gus Wasson.
Well, drafting is the way to go at Talladega. You got to have a drafting partner. Looks like they got a couple of them hooked up here, Benny, to try to run the leader down.
We're riding along with our pole sitter, Bob Strait. Now, he follows Bill Baird, our champion in 1999, as they try to catch those 3. Looking out the back of Bill Baird's car, back at Bob Strait's. The last time by, these cars were about 3/4 of a second behind the leaders. We'll check this time and see. Well, we don't have to check. They're right on the back bumper of Kevin Harvick. Now, Harvick moves over. He's hoping that Bill Baird...
You know, this is a tough place to be in if you're Harvick, because this is like your first Super Speedway deal, and you don't know. Do I just let them drive by me on the inside and let the momentum slow themselves down, or do I try to stay in line? You know, obviously, as we started the race, Tim Steele and a couple of these guys had some fast cars along with Cicchetti and Bob Strait, but obviously Harvick had a pretty decent car to start at the back and come to the front.
Gotta wonder what Richard Childress is telling his young driver, Kevin Harvick. We'll take a quick break and come back with more action from Talladega in just a moment. Back at Talladega Superspeedway, I'm Jerry Punch along with Kyle Petty, Benny Parsons, Ray Dunlap, and Bill Weber covering the action. And here's a cluster of 6 cars at 190 miles an hour, led by Mike Swain Jr. in the car number 22, the Accelerator Pontiac.
And Gus Wasson, the 96 car, trying to get on the inside of Kurt Shelmerdine. Wasson has some drafting help on the bottom with Frank Kimmel. But on the outside is Andy Hillenberg trying to help Shelmerdine go by. And here comes Shauna Robinson to close up on the back bumper of Andy Hillenberg. Oh!
You know, the bad part about being in a pack like this is you're sitting back here in 4th or 5th in this pack thinking to myself, if I can just get to the front, I can break away from this pack, or I can lead them. And as soon as you get to the front, somebody comes to the inside of you and jets around you. And we see Shelmerdine going to the inside here, making it 3 wide in front of Hillenberg.
Now we see Frank Kimmel trying to get on the inside of Gus Wasson and make it 4 wide. Wow, almost on the 8th of the racetrack making that pass.
And Kurt Shelmerdine trying to move his way through that pack, and hopefully they'll all get in line so they can catch the leaders. But Shelmerdine's trying to do it with just 2 tires during that last caution period. Just 2 left side tires on the 3 car. He gained a lot of track position under the caution, but then lost it when they went to green. He's trying to gain it back now.
By the way, Kyle, the owner of this 96 car, Gus Wasson, is Bo Petty. In relation to you?
There's no telling, man. I don't know if it was a king or my grandmother or something like that. I got 3 sisters and a mom and daddy. That's about all I know is good to me right now. And a couple kids.
Go a little bit farther back in the lineup, we see the white car is, I think that's Mark Boyd. Was that the fellow that was leading the race just a moment ago?
Yes, it is. I'm pretty sure that's who it is.
The 80 car there is Lazaro. The car that's leading this group is Anthony Lazaro.
Out of Ackworth, Georgia, the Stan Hoover Motorsports Ford. Pretty impressed with him so far, Benny.
Yes. And C.W. Smith, Skip Smith in the 28 car. That is 11th and 12th position. And what really impressed me about Lazaro, when they started the race, he started about 19th, I believe. It was 19th, and he fell back to about 30th because he just didn't feel comfortable in that big group of cars. And now he's worked his way back up to the 11th position. Very impressive young man.
And you know, the one good thing is you've got Lazaro up here running in 11th position, getting some experience, getting some drafting experience. You've got Harvick up there running in 3rd position, getting drafting experience. The only one that's out that we talked about in the first is David Steele, but he's up front with him. Even though he's a lap down, he's up front getting that valuable experience, running with experienced guys. Even if he is a lap down, he's gaining some experience by running with these guys.
And you see this shot out of Skip Smith's car. Skip Smith out of Williamsport, Pennsylvania, is a retired Pennsylvania state trooper. He's accustomed to chasing pretty fast cars, so he's right at home here.
Hopefully he didn't chase any cars at 190 miles per hour because that's about the speed that he's running right now.
If he's a Pennsylvania state trooper, he may know me on a first-name basis because I've been stopped in that state a few times.
He did mention you fondly, Kyle.
That's good.
The guy he's chasing, Anthony Lazaro, a Toyota Atlantic champion, now coming to run in ARCA, the Stan Hoover car. These 2 cars being shown in 11th and 12th position. 46 laps are complete. We're about 11 laps away from the halfway point.
This battle is going on about 15 seconds behind our leader. Our leader still Mike Cicchetti. Ryan Ross, the 67 car, is still in 2nd, and Harvick is 3rd.
It'll be interesting to see if those 2 guys stay hooked up, if they can run down, I guess the 10th or the 9th and 10th place people, or the 10th and 9th place people.
I got to ask you, if you're Richard Childress, what do you say to your driver, to Harvick? I mean, what kind of advice do you give him a moment ago when you could talk to him in a situation like this where he's trying to learn super speedway tactics?
You know, the only thing is like we talked at the beginning. Stay here, stay there. You know, you tell him just to stay in line. Just stay in line and follow the car in front of you. Follow right in those tracks and make them find a way around you. Don't pull over and give them that outside line. Don't go high and give them that inside line. Follow that group in front of you. And he's fortunate that he's racing with a pretty good group of guys right there. With with this group of guys, they're able to break away, and he's only got to worry about 3 or 4 guys, and that's what you say. Just pay attention to what's going on. Learn what the car is doing. NASCAR's watching. They're wanting to see him run those single lines, not be bouncing all over the racetrack. They want to be seeing him run high. We did the same thing with Adam last year. We brought him down here. He ran the ARCA race so that he could get approved to run the Busch Series next year as far as Daytona and some of the super speedways. And Kevin Harvick and these guys are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. And that's all Richard Childress wants him to do. Get experience, get some laps under your belt, let NASCAR approve you. We don't have to come down here and win the race. You're going to run the Busch Series next year for us, and that's a big deal.
And you see Bill Baird going by there. Now we go back to the next big group of cars, and they're still together. Shauna Robinson, the 1 car, the 46 of Frank Kimmel, led by the 3 car, Bert Shelmerdine. The car at the end of this line, Mike Swain Jr., the yellow and black car is a lap down. Also, there's Andy Hillenberg in the 39 car. And there goes Gus Wasson. That is the cars running 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Looks like Gus Wasson is about to get shuffled out of this pack if he doesn't hurry up and catch up.
A lot of times when you get in the position that Gus Wasson's in right there, you're praying that they run side by side just for a half a lap or so you can get called up, because that's what happens. A lot of times you get in a pack like that, all of a sudden they get single filed and you're the odd man out and you get shuffled.
And we go back to the lead. 1, 2, 3, 4. These guys lined up just trying to get away from these other cars. So as the race progresses down, they've only got to race 2 or 3 cars, not that big pack of 10 or 12.
As we approach the 50-lap mark at Talladega in the Winn-Dixie 300, Mike Cicchetti is our leader. Ross, Harvick, Strait, and Baird, the top 5. Our Speed Road coverage continues from the world's fastest stock car facility. Talk about the fastest half hour in television. RPM Tonight comes your way each and every night, Monday through Friday, 7 Eastern Time. John Kernan and all the staff at RPM getting up to date on what's happening in motorsports around the world. RPM Tonight, Monday through Friday at 7 Eastern Time. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com.
Back to the lead. They're still lined up, but there is a change. The 66 car, Bob Strait, has moved by Kevin Harvick for that 3rd spot.
And I'm going to say something. When Bob Strait moved by Kevin Harvick showed a lot of patience and really a lot of experience almost to have no experience. He eased up. He let the 66 get back in line, and he eased in behind him. He didn't want to spend a lot of time running side by side and lose a lot of ground to these first 2. And the way it worked out, he's able to hang on. He only lost 1 position. He didn't lose the pack.
Our Lucas Oil Telemetry, the world leaders in heavy-duty and high-performance lubricants, bringing us telemetry here. And Benny, we'll take a look at this car's speed in the draft.
Well, right now, he's getting shuffled back to the 4th position.
Back up in line there, Bob. Go on, get up there.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Get back in line. Follow these guys. Back up to 190, 191. Now, as he goes down in the corner, down to 188. As he goes down the backstretch, if this thing's going to catch up, which it should, he was our pole sitter, we ought to see some speeds a little over 190 miles per hour. 192, 193. Now he drops it off down in the corner, and we can see him just closing up. Look at 194 as he drops it off down, as he goes down the hill, down into the 3rd corner.
This car really drafts good. You saw how far he was behind as he came off this corner last time. And within a lap, he's made the move. You see, the 20 car does the same thing here. He's eased up. This time he's going to close the door on him. Last time he eased up and let him back in line in front of him so they wouldn't do this. So they wouldn't end up running side by side.
Ride for a little while.
You know, they keep talking to Bob, telling him to stay in line, but he, with a car like he's got that drafts up so well, I think a minute ago he ran up on the 67 car and got caught on the inside, and they went around him to the outside.
I think that's what I think when he ran up on the back of the 67 car, he came out of the throttle just enough to let Harvick get that run on the outside. And here with these restrictor plates, if you ever back off that throttle, it takes you about a lap to get the car back up to full speed.
And see the bottom there where it says brake? You don't see the lights come on at all. You don't have to worry about that pedal until you come down pit road.
Now, I tell you what, it's surprising. You'll see if you run this limited some of this stuff, especially in the Winston Cup when they run in a pack, you'll see the brake a lot because instead of lifting off the accelerator and closing the carburetor up and having to jump back into it and create that flow again, a lot of the Winston Cup guys just bind the car up with the brake and stay wide open on the gas and then jump off of it. We've gone from running super speedway brake setups to running short track brakes on these cars because you use so much brake during the day trying to stay off of people.
Plus, if you play with the throttle, you can burn a piston when you change, when you lean out the motor a little bit here in a tight draft.
And you set your car up, and you set your car, and you'll see these guys go out and get plug checks and they read the plugs and stuff like that. You do all that in the draft. You don't want to be running by yourself. If you get caught at Talladega running by yourself, it doesn't make any difference if you got a 286 or a 291 or 94 or 300 gear. You're dead in the water. You got to have some kind of draft. So you set up and you keep the car straight in the draft the whole time.
Joe Nemechek, our pole sitter for the Winston 500 that will be run here tomorrow. Just like Kyle Petty said, if he were to get
Car still good and comfortable, Bobby?
by himself, it would only take about 15 or 20 laps until they would come around and lap him tomorrow. You have to run with draft in help. And there we see Bill Baird, the 5th place car. We see what an advantage they have on that. That is 14.5 seconds. And the one thing that's keeping Bill Baird's going is the car behind him that's drafting along with him. It's Ron Cox, I believe, that's following Bill Baird. To see what kind of speed that he's running down the backstretch. About 4 or 5 miles per hour slower than Bob Strait. When he drives it down the corner, we see up to 196. We saw Bob Strait up to 194 a couple of times.
You see the difference in RPMs too. You see 6,700 RPMs coming up out of the corner with those guys at 187, 188. Well, we got a car in the wall right here.
And the car up against the outside concrete wall, bringing out caution for the 4th time today here on lap 58. And the car basically ground into the concrete up there, and he's not actually up on the banking, more into the tri-oval area, so he's down in the 33-degree part of the course rather than the 18 degrees. So that is the car number 97 of Doug Reed.
I think he hit the wall up in here someplace, but now he's finally come to rest just as the cars exit off turn 4.
So Doug Reed out of Hueytown, Alabama, a car they brought here that is 14 years old. They've been bringing this car here for about 5 years. And here's what happened to the local Alabama native, the car heavy impact.
And when this car stops, folks, it stops because it gets tired of rolling. It certainly isn't anything the driver does to make it stop.
Caution for the 4th time today here on lap 58 at Talladega Superspeedway. Back with more in just a moment. Back at Talladega, pit stops become the order of the day here under the 4th caution flag of the afternoon. Let's go down to the pits to Ray Dunlap.
Bob Strait is in the 66 car, Jerry, and I think it's going to be right side tires only. They're going to try to do this to get the car out quickly. They're going to work on it now to Bill Weber.
Mike Cicchetti is on pit road. He's in the 17 at the top of your triple pits. He's supposed to get 4 tires. The 66 car is already on his way. Long time on the right side for the 17. He is going to take 4 tires. The 66 maneuvers his way out of traffic and heads down pit road, followed by several cars. Meanwhile, the left side's going on the 17. Cicchetti is away. Right behind him, Kimmel still sits on pit road. As Baird escapes the traffic and leaves the pit. The 46 is away. The 20 and the 1 of Shauna Robinson all off pit road together.
Boy, a near miss between Kevin Harvick and Shauna Robinson exiting the pits there. You saw Bob Strait, his pit stop only 13 seconds, just 2 tires.
Just 2 tires trying to get that track position.
All right, pit stops have been completed. We'll see how it sorts out when we come back as we work the 4th caution flag of the day here as the laps continue in the Winn-Dixie 300. Back with more in a moment. Back at Talladega Superspeedway, working caution number 4 on the afternoon. Now, speaking of battles, we got one coming your way. The Friday night fight presented by Budweiser from the Orleans Casino and Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada. This week features a 12-round USBA Championship light heavyweight bout. The champion, Will Taylor, taking on the challenger, David Telesco. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. Take a look at our pit summary after those most of the lead cars came down pit road. And, Benny, there were some significant losers here.
Oh, yeah, see, Giacchetti was the leader. Comes out in 9th spot. Ross back to 11th. Harvick all the way back to 14th. Bob Strait went in 4th, came out 4th. The 3 cars right now the cars that run 1, 2, 3 did not pit. But I think that was a mistake for Strait, just changing 2 tires. Kyle, if you get a chance on the caution flag to change 4 tires, you try to take advantage of it.
You try to take advantage of it, especially if you've got a car that's capable of running in the top 2 or 3 like his car is. You don't want to give up any opportunity to give that other guy a little bit of an advantage. And I don't know how these tires are wearing because we're not down there walking through the pits looking at them as they come off. But if I had an opportunity at this point in time and I was running 3rd and 4th to put on tires, I'd have put on 4.
And we were being told Andy Hillenberg also just changed 2 tires. He's being shown in 4th position. So we'll see what the 2 tires will do. And particularly, you're concerned about some of the tire wear. We hear that maybe Doug Reed, who brought out this caution flag, indeed cut a right front tire. So they're concerned about the tire wear. And let's check into their pits on the fuel situation with Bill Weber.
And, Jerry, that's going to be the big question here in the final 50 laps or so of this race. As Ray had talked about earlier, a lot of teams getting very different gas mileage in this race. Several of them hope that's their last stop, but they're going to need between, say, 5 and 10 caution flag laps to help them get to the finish. Shauna Robinson can make it to the last lap, but probably will run out of fuel on the last lap if there are no caution flags between now and the end of the race. So fuel mileage down the stretch, very critical. A lot of guys can't make it. Looks like one girl might be able to.
How about that for Sean? And we'll see how close it comes as we get set for the restart here on lap 64. The caution out for a total of 5 laps. And the car number 40.
Green.
The white car of Dan Pardis is the leader. The yellow car in front of Pardis, a lap down. And you see Mike Swain Jr. gets a great jump. Still, that 22 car, the yellow and black car on the inside, still trying to get that lap back he lost with a punctured tire back early in the race.
This same type scenario we had a minute ago, where the first 2 or 3 cars are a lap down or maybe 2 or 3 laps down. They're running too wide, trying to get out there and trying to go, but it opens the door up because of the way they do to the fast cars, like Bob Strait right here on the outside of Pardis, to sweep through here and make some time.
As you watch Bob Strait begin to make a move, see if he can pull Pardis with him, the 42 car. 50 laps to go at Talladega. Benny, you were talking about it. Oh, here's Giacchetti making a move down almost on the apron of the racetrack.
Come down, Mike. There you go. Keep digging. Still outside. Still there.
That's Mike Giacchetti's radio.
And here's what Benny and I were talking about. It's easy to sit up here and look at what they do on pit road and say, well, I wouldn't have done that, or this wouldn't have done, or whatever. But there's Giacchetti running second with 4 fresh tires, and Bob Strait right in front of him after 1 lap with 2 fresh tires. So you would think that you would rather be in that position with 4. I know I would, but maybe Bob Strait and his crew have a different plan.
Boy, the caution flag will bunch them up in a hurry here at Talladega. Inches apart. They're drafting by at 185 to 190 miles an hour just laps ago. 12 to 15 cars just a few feet apart here on the 2.66 mile super speedway.
Frank Kimmel trying to work his way through as he follows Brian Ross. There's Ross in the 67 right alongside Andy Hillenberg. Now Kimmel has the 20 car of Kevin Harvick right behind him, giving some drafting help as they try to get on the inside of Ross. Can't quite make it. Ross's car goes in the corner, goes up the hill, gets it back under control.
Ross's car almost looks like it's in qualifying mode when you get to looking at it run through the corners and stuff. The way the rear of the car is down, like he's running an incredible amount of rebound in the rear shocks to pull the rear down. You see it bouncing, and just a real rough ride compared to some of the other cars that are out there.
Kimmel gets a great run off the corner, tries to pull alongside of Ross. They're 3 wide in the middle of the backstretch. Harvick trying to follow Frank Kimmel. That's Kimmel, the red number 46. Oh, and the 67 spins.
He loops around. Shauna Robinson back there. She was trying to avoid him as cars come down across the
3 and 4. Caution, caution.
And Shauna was not able to get by. The car spun right in front of her. She was collected. As here come the leaders, Straight, Cicchetti, and company back to the line. Mike Swain trying to get his lap back. Will not be able to do it as caution now is waving for the 5th time today.
There we see the damage to Shauna Robinson's Bob Evans Chevrolet. She may get back on the racetrack, will certainly not win today. We see her unbuckling, starting to get out of the car.
And she had absolutely no place to go, pal. She's sitting back there in the draft a couple of car lengths back when this car decided there was contact. And this car, Brian Ross, loops around. There's some of the damage on the front of Brian Ross's car. Now Shauna fires her car, and she talks to the safety workers, and they tell her that the damage isn't that significant. And she'll head back to pit road, and Mark Reno, the James Finch crew, will try to get this car repaired, at least to be able to finish the afternoon.
And she may be able to finish, but it's just like you say, there's no chance to win. And she's not running for points. And there's the only thing you can do is put that Bob Evans logo out there in front of everybody to see, but that's about it. You see these guys go in the corner. It's like the 67 didn't see Harvick here. And as he gets there, if you look at the lines on the racetrack, boom, there they are. They touch. Harvick's as low as he can go. You see the car get out from under him, and as the car spins, Shauna's got no place to go. He spins right dead in front of her. She goes to the high side. He clips. She goes up, did a really good job of her turning the car and getting back down off the racetrack. These guys, they were right in the middle of a pack right here. So everybody did a really good job to be limited to 2 cars.
And there you see the cars right there making that almost contact, if not contact. And you're right, I don't think Brian Ross realized that Kevin Harvick was coming along with Frank Kimmel. And there's a contact, and the 32 car, Mark Stahl, just barely gets by the 1 of Shauna Robinson before she spins back down off the racetrack.
And Andy Belmont also making an evasive move, and Ted Kennedy, the 00 car, up there as well.
See Brian Ross with the right front tire flat as he comes down pit road.
All right, caution for the 5th time today in Talladega. Scary moment. Brian Ross spins. He collects Shauna Robinson. Back in a moment. Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. Working caution for the 5th time today. An incident just a moment ago entering turn 3. Let's take a look.
The white car, number 67. He starts to turn down in the corner, but Kevin Harvick is there. He loses control, goes up to Shauna Robinson in the red and white number 1. Makes contact, both cars spin. Unfortunately, it was a 2-car crash.
Let's check in the pits with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Jerry, Shauna is out of the Bob Evans Chevy, but there's a good bit of damage on the left front there. I guess you're done for the day, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're done for the day. It wasn't the way I wanted to leave Talladega, that's for sure. We had a really good race car with the Bob Evans Chevrolet, and, you know, they always say you got to race like it's your last race, and it's definitely what I was doing here. But we were in a situation where there was nothing I could do. The car just lost it in front of me, and I tried everything to miss him, but it was just a little too close. But it's unfortunate because we had the car, and we had a tire go down early in the race and set us back, so I was fighting all day really to get back up. And once I hooked up with Frank Kimmel, we were definitely moving and picking a draft up, so we were going to eventually get to the front, and I feel like I definitely had the car, and there was no chance there was a chance. So it's unfortunate because, you know, all I want to do is race, and hated it ended short.
Yeah, well, that's all there is. Same car that they had at Daytona where she finished 2nd, but they're done for the day.
Tough break for Shauna Robinson. Now there's Bob Bissinger, who is the crew chief for the pole-sitting and current leading car of Bob Strait. And there is a spotter, Joe Ryan, up on the roof. Now we have what we call an ARCA spotlight, where you're able to listen in on the communications between, or among, I should say, the spotter, the crew chief, and the driver.
We've got to stay focused on this restart now. We've been getting killed on these restarts. We're good to go to the to the checker flag, and we can't let anybody by us. Just stick with what you've been doing. Let's just do it a lot better. Let's not change the game in the middle of the game, because we're not sure. If we could have done that earlier in the race, we might know. Joe, let's work with him real good here. Let's talk to him a lot. Let's give him a lot of information so he can make positive moves. We know Chicketti's going to be coming like a gangster up through there, so let's get our jump on him. Let's get out front.
And Joe they're talking to is Joe Ryan, the spotter. We saw on the right side of the screen. These guys want to win this race, don't you, Kyle?
These guys want to win bad, and I mean he's talked all day long. There's Joe Ryan. He's a spotter, also the motor builder, I think. But these guys have really talked all day long about staying focused and being on top of things and getting the most out of their game.
You saw Don Strait, who was the brother of driver Bob Strait, who's actually the co-crew chief down there, along with Bob Bissinger. You heard Bob Bissinger talking a moment ago in our ARCA Spotlight. Getting set for a restart here on lap 72 of 113, which make up the Winn-Dixie 300.
Cars on the right side of the screen. Cars that are a lap down. 5 cars down there, led by David Steele in the 01, the track phone car. Strait bringing the car slowly down, waiting for the flagman to wave the green flag. It is waved, and they're accelerating back up, hopefully to 190 miles per hour. The 95 car looks like he's lost an engine or something down on the apron of the racetrack. I believe that is the 95 car of Kevin Ray. Yes, it is. Meanwhile, back to the racing.
Bob Strait showing the way. Cicchetti in second spot. Now 2 cars begin to pull down and make their way on the inside of the racetrack. Kurt Shelmerding's the car number 3, the 46 car. That is Frank Kimmel, the 1998 ARCA champion, with Kevin Harvick right behind him in the 20 car.
This is along with Bob Strait, we're riding with him, the pole sitter. The ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde onboard cameras. He looks back at Cicchetti. Now Cicchetti has Frank Kimmel right on his back bumper. Both these cars changed 4 tires. And Bob Strait only 2. How will that play out as we get down near the end of the race? As Kimmel got by the 3 car of Kurt Shelmerding just a moment ago, the 20 car of Kevin Harvick was not able to slip by. He's still back there struggling, trying to get by. He finally does move into the 4th position. Now he has Bill Baird, the 1999 champion, that will close on his back bumper. Maybe those 2 cars can hook up and draft to the front.
It's going to take a couple of cars hooking up to get back to those first 3, but like you said, Harvick got caught on the inside of Kurt Shelmerding, couldn't go anywhere, and within about a lap and a half, they had stretched out far enough that they broke the draft. And once they broke the draft, then the second pack really started to bunch up because it just began to bottleneck at the front.
Never see the 80 car, Anthony Lazzaro. A great run he has going today as he closes in right on the back bumper of Kurt Shelmerding. He's currently running in the 8th position.
Less than 40 laps to go. The lead threesome single file, and this pack has finally got themselves sorted out in single file. It seems to be moving in somewhat. Bill Baird, who just joined us. Bill Baird is officially the ARCA champion for 1999. He is back in the 5th position.
Check the on-track interval between Kimmel and Harvick. And we see that Harvick is getting closer and closer. I'm not sure what all those numbers mean. I know from 2.0 to 0.2. And we see now the 52 car of Baird on the inside of Harvick trying to take the spot away.
See, these guys are doing nothing right now but hurting themselves as far as running down the front pack. It's almost like they run You want to tell them, get in line, stay in line. You're fast enough maybe to run down that front pack, but every time you get a little bit of speed, they bunch up 2x2 and 3x3. And the front 2 or 3 guys check out further.
And that front pack is Bob Strait in the 66 car. Then Mark Thompson on Midway Island Ford. Behind him, Mike Cicchetti. And behind Cicchetti, the Advanced Auto Parts car is Frank Kimmel.
Bobby, just run your race. Run your race.
Here comes Harvick back. Gilbert still not able to make that pass. The radio transmission just a moment ago was the Bob Strait pit crew talking to him as he went by them.
And still side by side. That's really bunching them up behind this group for third spot. Cicchetti makes the move to the inside. And Strait will cover the position. Less than 40 laps to go at Talladega Superspeedway. In the 17th running of the Winn-Dixie 300, Bob Strait continues to be our leader. Back in a moment. Back at Talladega Superspeedway in Talladega, Alabama. Laps winding down in the Winn-Dixie 300. There's our lead threesome. Bob Strait, the leader, the 66 car. Behind him, Mike Cicchetti. And behind him, the 1998 ARCA champion of Frank Kimmel. Crew chief and spotter both watching anxiously as Bob Strait, the 50-year-old veteran. That's Don Strait on left side of your.
I'd rather be up front with them dicing around.
I think Frank's got it figured out right now. If he goes with Cicchetti, and Bobby goes with him, then he's in the point.
We'll see. If he cuts that deal, he cut the deal with the devil.
Stay out front. Does Frank know that Cicchetti's going to run out of fuel?
Do we know that?
No, but does Frank know that? I don't know that we know that. What I meant is if he thought that, he might bide his time and take the second the easy way and then try to pass Bobby. Frank's been picked up. Frank didn't fuel up and we did.
I have no idea what Frank's fuel situation is. SP2s seem to be making pretty good fuel. No, we're not going to start playing any games yet. I mean,
Discussion ongoing down in Bob Strait's pit. Now, Frank Kimmel, the big concern about his fuel, he has leased, for the first time this year, a Hendrick. They have a Randy Dorton engine in the car number 52, so, or 46, so they're concerned about fuel because of all the horsepower.
Because they have no idea exactly what kind of fuel mileage they're going to get as compared to what they've been racing.
But you heard him say, those SP2s make gas, you know what I mean, which means that they're not going to use as much gas as these two Fords are, is what he's thinking in his mind. So he thinks Kimmel's got enough gas to go all the way. They're trying to get everybody to believe Cicchetti's going to run out of gas at some point in time.
I love the conversation between Don Strait and Bob Bissinger, the two crew chiefs. Said, do we know Cicchetti's going to run out of gas? Said, no, but we can start the rumor.
4 laps to go. Negative, negative.
Just 30 laps to go.
30. Well, so 113.
Yeah, that's what I got told is 113.
Yes. 30. 30 laps to go. 30 laps to go.
Boy, Kyle, you begin to question even how many laps are in the race at this point.
They don't know who's going to run out of gas or who's got enough gas. They don't know who's making gas or who's not. They don't even know how many laps are left. But he took charge. You saw him. He said, no, that can't be right. And he goes over and he asks. He's got 2 people in his pit, so he counts laps. So he did a good job to get it back under control.
Now we saw the interval between Kimmel, who's third spot right there, and the 4th place deal for right now is Andy Hillenberg. He was 2 seconds, and in 5 laps, you see they've increased it to 4.5 seconds. Look at Kimmel, every lap, 50.3, 50.5. The slowest one was 50.7. And Hillenberg back there had one lap at 51.5. You'll see the red car on the left is Andy Hillenberg, followed closely by Kevin Harvick, then Dan Pardis, and the 28 car of Skip Smith, that white car at the very tail end, still out there running in 7th position.
Mike, how's your water now?
Riding along with the roof camera, CW Skip Smith out of Williamsport, Pennsylvania, the Shopback Raceway Storage Chevrolet. CW finished 7th here at Talladega back in October of '97. So also had a pretty horrific incident at Atlanta a couple of years ago.
The yellow car there's Robert Burrows out of Mississippi that's hanging with this group of cars. Now going by some traffic. Oh, we see Kimmel. I mean, Bob Strait all of a sudden drove down and tries to break the draft of the Ducati car. That's not going to work.
No, not with these guys behind him, especially running in tandem like that. You know, if you're trying to break the draft from one car in front of you, it's possible to kind of lead back and forth and break it a touch. Not a lot, but break it just enough to keep them behind you. But if you got two guys running in tandem, chances are you turn to the left, they're going to go by you on the outside and run it wide open.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, what about the fuel strategy? Let's check in on the pits with Bill Weber.
Well, I can help you out on a couple of cars. First of all, Mike Cicchetti definitely cannot make it. He can only get to about a lap 105, so they're trying to figure out their strategy at this point, but they know they can't make it. As for Frank Kimmel, they don't know if he can make it or not, but they're not going to stop. They're either going to win or run out of gas. So that's the formula for the 46 car for the final laps. Down pit road, here's Ray.
The story in the 66 pit, Bill, is that they can go the distance, no question about it. They last pitted on lap 60, so that leaves them 53 laps to go. They could not do that if it was all under green, but they have not all been green flag laps. So with the caution laps, all the guys down here in the Midway Island group are confident that Bob Strait can go till the checker.
Well, my experience with the Michelin Cup crew chiefs on race day is that they can go all the way, they tell the driver we can make it. If they can't go all the way, they tell the driver we don't know. They never tell him that he can't make it. So, yeah. And we'll find out as the laps are winding down at Talladega Superspeedway. Bob Strait is our leader. Back in a moment. Back at Talladega Superspeedway, laps beginning to wind down now in the Winn-Dixie 300. Bob Strait continues to lead the Midway Island 4. Now, a lot of discussions ongoing among the crew members here in the Midway Island pits, the Phoenix Air pits. There's Joe Ryan, the spotter. As we will eavesdrop now on the communications among Joe Ryan, Bob Strait, and Bob Bissinger, the crew chief.
That 20 car's moving through the pack. If he gets in front of that train, he may be able to pull him up a little bit. If they get the Dyson around, who knows? I'd rather be up front with them Dyson around.
I think Frank's got it figured out right now. If he goes with Cicchetti, then Bobby goes with him, and he's at the point.
He got that deal. He cut the deal with the devil.
All right, discussions, huh?
Got the deal with the devil, huh? Bob Strait. Now, the 17 is Cicchetti. He's tried to pass a couple times. He's looked low. He's tried to get Kimmel to go with him, but so far they've not been able to gain anything at all on the Midway Island number 66 of Bob Strait.
You see the 17 going to the inside, to the outside. You see him running a lot of different places.
But he's go this time by 20. Go this time by 20 to go.
And Gus Wasson has just blown the left front tire.
And there is no caution flying as of yet. Hank Wetzel being talked to by the ARCA spotters around the racetrack. Gus Wasson's car down on the very apron of the track, out of the groove, as you continue to see these three cars, nose to tail, about a car length and a half separating the three of them. Strait and ARCA saying the track is indeed clear. There's no debris. being shown up in the groove, so we stay green.
Tough break for Gus Rossi. Got a good run going.
But you know, the one thing you got to be a little bit concerned about right there, that's a left front tire. And the 66 car, Bob Strait, didn't change laps. He's going to have a lot of laps on these lefts with 20 laps to go when this thing is all said and done.
Doing a good job, Bob. Get good smooth rhythm. Keep going.
Joe Ryan talking to Bob Strait. You got to believe that there's any report of debris, it's the guys who need fuel that are reporting it big time.
Oh, yeah. Anytime I'm running and I need a caution because the leader's coming up or something's happening, I start screaming on the radio, but they never pay any attention to you.
There's animals on the track. Huh?
Yeah, I'm seeing things out here. I hadn't had any sleep. There's an elephant in the middle of the backstretch. I got to have a caution.
And they're talking about the 20 car, and obviously he would be the guy screaming the loudest for debris right now because Kevin Harvick is back in 4th spot, but he's a little over 7 seconds behind this leader, Bob Strait.
And what I was going to say a minute ago, the 17 will jockey to the inside and he'll move to the outside, and he keeps juking around, messing with the 66, but he's still a car length and a half behind him. If he was right up on his bumper doing something, he would have an opportunity to make a move and pull out and have somebody in that wall coming out of turn 2 over there.
Got an incident, 0-0. Ed Kennedy, the Coppell, Texas driver in a Chevrolet Monte Carlo.
Car down the back trailer up against the wall, Mike.
And there goes Shelmerdine.
Danny Pardis and Shelmerdine involved in an incident trying to get slowed down. They slide across the racetrack down in turn 2.
Back off a little, Bob. You back off. You could back off some.
And we see the radiator, the fluid out of the 3 car means that he's broken the radiator on that car. Now then, who's going to be making a pit stop? Who's going to be changing tires? What about fuel? What about tires? Now we'll find out.
All right, we'll check and see what's going to change. Ed Kennedy's car contacting the wall, bringing out caution for the 6th time. We'll come back and check on strategy in a moment. Back at Talladega Superspeedway, the late laps of the Winn-Dixie 300. I'll show you again why we are under caution for the 6th time today, involving the 0-0 car, Coppell, Texas driver Ed Kennedy.
Black and gold car comes off turn 2, and all of a sudden the right front tire goes flat, and bam, hard in that outside retaining wall. Once again, we'll show you just how quickly this happens. He's going straight, and in the matter of just a split second, he's in the outside wall.
And while this is taking place, Benny, there's another incident about to take place.
Robert Burrows, the yellow car, goes down in turn 1. We see some smoke from the brakes when he tried to slow down. He runs in the back of Dan Pardis in the 42. Pardis spins back across the racetrack, right in front of Kirk Shelmerdine. Has no place to go, and both those cars out of competition.
And there is take a look at Ed Kennedy out of Coppell, Texas. A little wobbly, but able to walk away to the ambulance, thankfully. Bringing out the 6th caution flag of the day as we are approaching 10 laps to go. Now, we've been following some of the discussions on pit road. There's a look at the Phoenix Air team, the Bob Strait crew that Bob, of course, is our leader. So we'll check in with them. We'll get another ARCA spotlight and eavesdrop on the conversation.
I understand that Chicketti's coming in the pit. Let's make sure we watch that pit, make sure he doesn't lower the car or anything on us, okay? On it. Mickey, right there. Mickey, run down to Chicketti's pit and watch pit stop lowering the car. Okay, Bob, that last restart was perfect. Now we're going to just get a carbon copy of it this time to go, and we'll be in good shape.
And there you see Cicchetti going on pit road.
I think Kimmel's going to be behind you on this restart, so we'll have to see how that goes.
All right, let's go check in with Bill Weber in the pits.
Okay, we'll see if we can update you on all this. Cicchetti had to pit, obviously, because he didn't have enough fuel to get to the finish. So he came in and he got fuel. He also got right side tires, but because there's a tire rule in ARCA, the tires he put on already had 20 laps on them because they'd used up all their sticker tires. So no one else came down pit road. That put Cicchetti at the end of the field. Then they gave the 1 to go sign. Well, as the cars were getting into position, Cicchetti was working his way through traffic, and here's where things start to get a little foggy. But somehow Mike Cicchetti and Mike Harmon got together on the racetrack. Apparently, as Cicchetti was trying to get through the field, he thought Harmon was a lap car. He tried to go around him. Maybe Harmon didn't want him going by, but anyway, they made contact. Harmon ended up in the wall. So now his day is over. Cicchetti has left front damage. He came back down pit road, got new left side tires. They pulled out the sheet metal, they put on tape, and they sent him back out to the end of the field. So he went from running second to running at the back of the pack with left front damage, and he's got 4 tires, but they're rolled tires, and his promising day has turned very disappointing because of some wacky developments down the stretch here.
Boy, Bill, and we have less than 10 laps to go, and you got a feel for Mike Harmon here. Mike Harmon running in 11th position in the R&B Steel Chevrolet, minding his own business, and under caution, ends up spinning into the wall, ends up getting a tag.
We see the pace car about to go off the racetrack. We'll be going back to green. Green flag is waved, and we'll have 9 laps to go to decide this thing.
50-year-old Bob Strait, our pole sitter, Midway Allen Ford, the Mark Thompson on machine. He is the leader.
See Kevin Harvick back there laying back, trying to get a good run on this start. He might have started a little bit too early.
The only thing worse than starting late is starting too early and then having to check up again.
It looked like he might have started just a little bit too early. And here comes Kimmel. He's got a head of steam off turn 2. Can he make it work to his advantage?
Bob Strait, a 14-time winner in ARCA competition, but take a look. He has never won on the Super Speedway. Incredible. This 50-year-old ARCA veteran hoping to get his first ever Super Speedway win here today. He's got to hold on for 8.5 more laps.
And right now, the 20 car, Kevin Harvick, the Realtree Chevrolet from Richard Childress Camp, looks like he is just barely hanging on to these front 2 cars. On the right end of your screen is Anthony Lazzaro trying to get a good finish on his first battle, but some contact, and Bill Bear, the champion, spins, slams the wall. Lazzaro head on. I think it's C.W. Smith that meets him head on.
That indeed is Skip Smith involved in the 28 car. There's Lazzaro's car number 80, the Stan Hoover machine, still sliding on the inside. More cars spinning,
and they're still crashing.
At least a half a dozen cars involved in an incident here on lap 106, and they're still sliding. Seventh caution flag today, and there is the Saturn Machine Chevrolet. That is the ARCA champion, Bill Baird. You see his onboard camera showing you he is getting unhooked, getting the gloves off. Let's show you again what happened as Baird was trying to make a pass, and they were 3 wide.
And we see Lazzaro is right down the bottom of the racetrack, and right there, they just make contact just enough that both cars spin. The Andy Hillenberg goes up, makes contact with the outside retaining wall, and there's Lazzaro, just gets hit head on with the Skip Smith number 28 car. Let's ride along with Bill Baird and check this thing out, Kyle.
Yeah, as you watch him go down the backstretch, Baird runs up on him, and all of a sudden, boom, we're 3 wide. Look at the lines on the racetrack, or as the camera scans. Right here, he gets hit. He's going the wrong way. But if you can... And this was right in the middle of the pack that was running 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, right there. They were going for 5th position. And these guys continue to go up the racetrack. A lot of fluid on the racetrack right here.
Here's Skip Smith. Let's watch as he meets the 80 car head on.
Watch the 80 car here out of your window. Look at it get up in the air. Boom. Incredible. If you watch that camera angle again, the 80 car goes down across the flat and then lifts up into the air and slams down on the racetrack right as Skip hits it.
It's almost like this one roof flap came up on the 80 car.
The 80 car's right here. He goes around. He goes out of your picture right there.
Man.
But there's a couple of different angles where the 80 car is actually off the racetrack.
Now here's a shot that, Kyle, you're talking about. And watch down the very left-hand side of the screen at the 80 car.
Watch him right here lift. He is up in the air right there.
And you do not see that. Finally, the roof flaps deploy, but you do not see him come up when the car began to come up off the ground. That's unusual.
Yeah, that's very unusual. Most of the time, the roof flaps take off and they keep the car on the ground, but that car didn't have a chance.
And there's the veteran Norm Benning out of his car. We'll set who all was involved when we come back to Talladega in just a moment. Back at Talladega Superspeedway, still working the 7th caution flag of the day. 7 cars involved in an incident up in turns 3 and 4, and because of so many cars involved and so much debris on the racetrack, we are still under caution. They have waved the white flag. This is the final lap. Here's what happened just a moment ago on lap 106.
See the contact between Bill Baird, the 52 car, Anthony Lazzaro, and the 80. And watch as Lazzaro gets up in the air and gets hit head-on with C.W. Smith, Skip Smith in the 28, and then about 6 or 7 other cars are involved as well. We see the 17 car, Mike Cicchetti, right there, gets run in the back off by Mark Stahl.
Well, the race isn't over yet, but we do have crowned the champion today, right, Bill?
And that would be Bill Baird, and under certainly unusual circumstances, congratulations on your 1999 championship.
Well, thanks, Bill. You know, it's we had a good. Didn't have the best car here, but it wound up running good at the end, and it's first DNF this year. So but we had the championship wrapped up for the year, and it just hadn't sunk in yet. I'm still ready to go racing, and it just killed me walking out of that car a while ago. But hey, we won it big, and it's nice to have the championship behind us with still one more race to go.
Dream come true for you.
It is. I mean, you know, I've been racing for 10 years, and actually this year was the first year I ever won a race, and won 5 of them. I think we had 4 or 5 seconds and 3 or 4 thirds, and been outside of, you know, hadn't had a DNF this year, and the first car we really tore up, so I can't complain.
Well, congratulations to Bill Baird, the 1999 Series champion. As for the race champion, let's check in with Dr. Punch.
And the fans are on their feet cheering for 50-year-old Bob Straight from Mokina, Illinois, driver of the Midway Island Ford. And there's
Go on, get by him there. Run him on up there. Good job, Bob. Congratulations on your first Super Speedway win.
What a job by that crew, Joe Ryan.
Now remember, you got to stop at the in the pit road.
And the engine builder, he's reminding the driver, you got to stop at the end of pit road. They got to check that spoiler, minimum 60-degree spoiler. And how about that young man? Got to be well, he's a young man. He's just 50 years of age, BP, right?
Real young man.
He's the winner of the Winn-Dixie 300. His first, as you heard a moment ago, ever Super Speedway win. His 15th career victory. And we'll come back to talk to the winner of the Winn-Dixie 300 in just a moment. Back at Talladega Superspeedway, they have stopped the winning car up at the end of pit road, very far from victory lane to check the spoiler. And now Bob Straight has to climb out because he's overcome with smoke. He seats on a couple of donuts out on the racetrack, and the car filled up with smoke inside. Take a look at our unofficial results. Bob Straight, the winner. Kimmel, Kevin Harvick. How about a run for Harvick? Bob Shack and Mark Voigt. That's the top 5 as 7 cars finished on the lead lap.
And we see Mike Swaim Jr. will finish 8th, 1 lap down. As we look back 16 through 30, from Anthony Lazzaro back to Norm Benning, all those cars involved in that crash 4 or 5 laps from the end of the race.
Indeed, only 16 cars running at the finish. A typical Talladega afternoon. Exciting ARCA action. 40 starters. Randall Ritter will finish 40th on the field. It was an incident on lap 106 coming into turn 3 that caused this race to finish under caution. Here it is once again.
Anthony Lazzaro in the 80 car makes contact with the 52 of Bill Baird. The 39 car, Andy Hillenberg, goes up, hits the wall. And we see all the other cars making contact. So Lazzaro, high in the air, comes back across the racetrack. Skip Smith in the 28 meets head on.
And here's the race winner, the Midway Island Ford, the Mark Thompson-owned car for 50-year-old Mokina, Illinois veteran Bob Straight, spinning donuts on the racetrack. And we did indeed crown a champion today. How about this guy, another 50-year-old? 1999 ARCA national champion is Bill Baird. For Kyle Petty, Benny Parsons, Ray Dunlap, and Bill Weber, I'm Jerry Punch. Once again, congratulating our champion, Bill Baird, and today's winner, Bob Strait. So long, everyone, from Talladega, Alabama.